Well, Big Keir Starmer decided to take the day off and not show his face at PMQ'S. He left a stuttering Angela Rayner to answer the hard questions following the farmers' protest. In today's video, we will be looking at footage of her getting roasted as Labour called out for screwing over farmers. Just a heads up, her answer is classic Labour. Before we get into the footage, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we have new Stuck Farmer t-shirts available on our store. Go grab them now. They are available at britishstand.com or check the link in the description. So have a watch.
300 million on farming budgets. The farmers know they ruined it for them, and that's why we're in government and they're not.
Well, perhaps the right honourable lady thinks that everyone came to London yesterday to thank the government. Let's look at the facts. A typical mid-sized 360-acre family farm in the constituency of my right honourable friend for Thirsk and Moulton. They've spoken to their accountant. Their new liability because of this government is £500,000. That's 12 years' worth of profit. When this generation passes away, that farm will become totally unviable, and it's just one of thousands and thousands of similar farms. It's clear the government hasn't got its facts right. The Central Association for Agricultural Valuers, the real experts in this field, say so. The NFU says so. They're shortly to publish a report showing that 75% of all commercial farms will fall above the threshold. If the government isn't going to reverse this terrible policy, will the right honourable lady at least commit that there will be no further increases to inheritance tax and no further reductions to agricultural property relief or business property relief in this Parliament?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks about the facts, and I absolutely stand by the figures the government have set out. And the vast majority of estate owners will be totally unaffected. He wants to talk about the figures, Mr. Speaker. I will be crystal clear. The vast majority of estate owners will see no change and pay no tax on land passed on valued at £1 million. Couples can pass on £3 million, Mr. Speaker, tax-free, and those above the thresholds will pay only half the normal rate and can pay over 10 years interest-free.
This is just another part of the budget that's unravelling, Mr. Speaker. Everyone here and all the farmers at home will have heard there was no guarantee there. We know what that means. They're coming back for more. And even if the honourable lady had made a promise today, it wouldn't have been worth a fig. We know that the Environment Secretary, before the election, promised the farmers this wouldn't happen. Labour promises get broken. Let's put all of this into context. The Treasury says the family farms tax will raise, on average, £441 million a year. The Treasury also says that the public sector pay rises the government announced in July will cost £9.4 billion a year. That's over 21 times as much. Why does the government think that above-inflation pay rises for the trade unions are worth so...
Order! Now then, I don't need any more from the second bench. Can I just say, please, less of it. We've had a bit of a run-in recently and I don't need to have any more. Right. Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it's an audacity for the honourable gentleman to stand there and suggest in some way that Labour broke promises or raised taxes. When I'll school the honourable gentleman, it was his government that raised taxes to the highest level for a generation. It was his government. It was his government that crashed the economy, that saw inflation rise to 1.1% and growth flatline. It was his government that spent the reserves 3 times over. I'll take no lessons from the honourable gentleman.
Alex Burkhardt.
I understand why the right honourable lady doesn't want to answer questions about the terrible choices the government have made. It's because the truth is ugly. The truth is that this is a punishment meted out to people who don't vote Labour. It's the same punishment meted out to parents who send their children to private schools. It's the same punishment meted out to the owners of small businesses terrified about national insurance contributions, and it's the same punishment meted out to pensioners who can't afford to pay their fuel this winter. Isn't it the truth, Mr. Speaker, that if you don't vote Labour, they don't care about you?
As always, same old Labour screwing people over and not answering questions. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In some other news, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has accused Labour of hoodwinking its MPs into voting for winter fuel allowance cuts after government modelling revealed 100,000 pensioners could be pushed into poverty. Speaking in an interview, Philp called the situation terrible and claimed Labour deliberately concealed the Department for Work and Pensions impact assessment during the recent parliamentary vote. When we voted on this a few weeks ago, they deliberately did not publish that impact assessment. They hid it from Parliament and hid it from their own MPs, Philp said. He warned the situation was becoming a triple whammy for pensioners, citing rising inflation alongside the benefits cut. The DWP modelling shows that restricting the winter fuel payment will lead to an estimated 50,000 more pensioners falling into relative poverty after housing costs next year. This figure is projected to rise to 100,000 additional pensioners in poverty by 2026 to 2027. The winter fuel payment, worth up to £300, is being limited to only those claiming pension credit from this winter, aiming to save £1.5 billion annually. The government's analysis indicates similar patterns through to 2030, with the number of additional pensioners in poverty fluctuating between 50,000 and 100,000 each year. The figures are rounded to the nearest 50,000 individuals due to modelling uncertainties. Work and pensions. Secretary Liz Kendall defended the policy, stating the government was forced to take difficult decisions to balance the books due to a £22 billion financial deficit. She emphasised that the modelling doesn't account for measures to increase pension credit take-up, which has risen by 152% since July. A government spokesperson highlighted additional support measures, including the £150 warm home discount and cold weather payments. They added that millions of pensioners will benefit from a state pension increase of up to £470 in April. The modelling figures should be taken into account when interpreting the results, Kendall cautioned in her letter to MPs. The winter fuel payment changes mark a significant shift from the previous universal system that provided payments to all pensioners. The Scottish Labour Party has notably broken ranks with the UK-wide party position, announcing it would campaign for full winter fuel payments in its 2026 Holyrood campaign. Liberal Democrat Treasury spokesperson Daisy Cooper criticised the cuts, saying, "Cutting this allowance will drive more vulnerable older people into poverty, forcing them to choose between heating and eating." Currently, only 63% of those eligible claim pension credit, meaning many poorer pensioners could miss out on the payment. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.